I look at the Big 12. I don't know who the best team in the Big 12 is anymore. I was looking at a lot of metrics last night, and I think that Texas Tech's defense is very good. But I'm going to continue to tell you there's something amiss in this Texas Tech offense. And it worries me a bit because you're not going to be tested for some time now. If you're Texas Tech, you've got Houston, and you sputtered in that game. And if you watched the Houston game, Houston wasn't very good at all. Houston just was not good. I think Tech's defense is so physical, which is really surprising when you put a bunch of new dudes together, especially up front. You don't expect them to come out and just bend faces, right? Texas Tech is bending people's face masks. Like, they're doing the job up front. And there's just something uncomfortable about Baron Morton right now. And people are going to look at this performance and they're going to say, well, my 345 and a touchdown. It was Houston, and they're not good.
Yeah, that's it.
And I would also remind you, they ran the ball 48 times. Does that math to you? In 88 plays, they ran the ball 48 times. There's just something off. I don't know what it is. I still maintain that Baron Morton, that Utah game had a significant impact on Baron Morton. I think it played with his confidence a little bit, and it's easy to put up numbers when you're in that offense and that style of offense. Baron Morton, in my opinion, if they're going to win the conference and go to the college football playoff and make any noise in the playoff at all, Baron Morton won't be the starting quarterback. Whether that's injury or there's just something amiss. And I think for the first time in a long time, Texas Tech might have all the ingredients on the field now. Might. There's a long way to go. It's the second weekend of October. Texas Tech might have all the ingredients on the field to win the conference and go to the playoffs. I don't think one of those ingredients is Baron Morton. There's something off, and I think they're really good. And I am going to be very interested to see how this. Watch the Baron Morton storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just something that doesn't feel like that offense should be clicking and dominating, and it's not. It was, and
there were some drops, right? I mean, I agree that the Baron Morton thing is definitely a storyline, no question about it. But I also think on the other end of the throw, I mean, there were several drops in the end zone. There was.
Doesn't that happen to everybody?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen when you're playing Houston. It shouldn't be one touchdown. It should be 5 touchdowns. It should be 350 and 4 or 5 touchdowns, and your receiver should catch the ball, and your quarterback should look confident throwing the football. And it's not just a Baron issue. His issues impact other parts of the offense, and I think that Texas Tech to me is clearly the best team in the Big 12 right now. There's just not. BYU is not better than Texas Tech. There's no chance.
Well, let's see where Jack Kelly comes out. Let's see what happens there, because that's a huge injury for BYU. That is a huge injury.
We don't know who BYU is. They have played absolutely positively nobody. And I don't start disagree. That run right now.
I don't Arizona, disagree with that.
Utah, Iowa State, Tech, TCU. So you're going on a run here where you're probably going to lose 3 of the next 5, I would guess. Just freshman quarterback. We know it's BYU. You're going on the road for Iowa State and Tech. Highly doubt you win both of those games, especially considering that Iowa State just decided not to show up this past week. Not really sure what that was against Cincinnati, but so I just don't think that. I don't think that there's a number 2 in this conference. That's the problem. And
I totally disagree. I think I think that it is. I think it's up for grabs who the number 2 is. I think, sure, Texas Tech is the best team in the league. Okay, I'm willing to say that. I'm also willing to say that I would not, anybody saying that Arizona State can't beat everybody in this conference isn't watching Arizona State because they can. The tenacity that they've showed the last 2 weeks in Waco and at home against TCU. I think we're starting to see Kenny Dillingham again. You want to talk about well-coached teams and well-coached leagues. What Kenny Dillingham is getting out of his defense, who is not the most talented defense in the league. They are not. But what you're starting to see and what you're starting to learn out of those 2 games, I think was really important. That we saw Arizona State win those 2 games. And now you go to Salt Lake City to face a team that I think is desperate. Because Utah at 4-1, I still maintain as one of the most difficult schedules with Arizona State at BYU, Colorado, Cincinnati. Don't sleep on Cincinnati. And everybody's been writing off Cincinnati. You can't tell me that's not a top 5 team in this league right now, because they're not a fluke at 4-1. They're 2-0 in the conference and they're 4-1. That's not a fluke that they're 4-1. At Baylor, K-State, and Kansas. I am telling you this team is desperate. And I do not believe that Texas Tech is far and away head and shoulders the best team in the league. I think they are the best team in the league until they're beaten. But you can't have it both ways, especially Texas Tech fan who says, oh, Utah's shitty. That's a bad team. Okay, well then if they're shitty and a bad team, you haven't played anybody. So which one is it? Because you want to mint yourself as the best team in the Big 12, and you want to tell me how great you are, and you want to denigrate Utah and say they're just this average-ass football team. Okay, well then has Texas Tech played anybody?
Well, Monty, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. Dude, blow your doors off.
But that's my point, is that, okay, if Utah's shitty, then you haven't played anybody. And I don't even argue that Utah's an average-ass team. But I think there is also no question that BYU deserves more respect than they're getting. Jack Kelly, I looked this morning, Jack Kelly's still listed as the starter at linebacker, which makes me think he's going to be fine and he'll play. And if he plays there, that's the best defense in the conference. If Jack Kelly's healthy, BYU's the best defense in the Big 12. And again, under Jake, the haters, well, they haven't played anybody, Monty. Don't disagree. West Virginia, Colorado, East Carolina, Stanford, Portland State. You know, hey, listen, I'm with you. And I agree. Arizona, Utah, totally get it. Iowa State, Texas Tech, totally get it. We're going to figure out in the next month who BYU is. Right now, I think they're in the argument with Arizona State as the second best team in this league. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see how it plays out. I think Iowa State's dealing with a lot of injuries right now, which is obviously plaguing them and making things very difficult. Not a great time to be dealing with.
Everybody's injured.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just telling you what it is. Like, you're losing.
Look, James Franklin.
Yeah,
Franklin.
Again, I know Iowa State doesn't have Big Ten TV money, but they have some injuries as well. So, I think that it's I just think Tech right now, if you said they're the best team in the conference, I'm not confident in them to win big games. I don't think anybody who's watched that team can be like, yeah, this is a team that'll just walk into most stadiums, go on the road, play whoever in the CFP and be able to get a win. I don't buy that for a second. I just don't. But obviously, you're one of 2 5-0 teams. You're one of 3 teams in the Big 12 to have scored more than 200 points this season. you're not in a bad place. But I just think that we have to see. I need to see what BYU is against a good defense. That's what I need to see. I don't doubt their defense. I need to see what their offense is like, against a quality defense that's as good as the one you have. So,
what do you make of Texas Tech's offense? Is it because, again, this is a pew pew, throw the ball all over the place, woohoo,
mm-hmm.
Cool, but it's gimmicky and it's never won a national championship. And that's something to think about. They're putting up, because everybody wants to talk about, hey, Texas Tech's putting up 500 yards offense. Woo! That's cool. But again, in the parlance of Utah's shitty, what happens when you run into a good defense? And if Behren Morton's still your starting quarterback? I'm a little concerned about that because, frankly, when I look at some of these numbers, it does not give me great hope in this league. And again, I think Texas Tech's schedule is one of the easiest schedules in the conference. They have left at Arizona State, BYU, and that's it. Because they play Kansas at Arizona State, Oak State, at K-State, BYU, UCF at West Virginia. They're going to play two really good defenses. Arizona State's good. BYU's defense is off the charts good.
Mm-hmm.
The best defense in the conference. Those are their two opportunities to lose games.
Yep.
And if you're going to put up 500 yards on BYU, I will absolutely stretch my throat for Joey McGuire and do things that are unspeakable. Unless you're Oak State James in the Rectory.
Mm-hmm.
Because that feels like the only two opportunities for them to lose a game. That's it. Because I don't even know where else would they even come close to losing a game.
Oh, I mean, obviously Kansas has played season breaker before, right? Has given us upsets before. Would be a little surprised if Tech lost to them, but it is. Kansas is a reasonable enough team, capable. If you turn it over, if you're having your worst day, they're having their best. Maybe they do something, but
okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think we'll see. If Tech is if Tech is in the same position now that they are, when they play BYU, if they're still on top of the conference, if Barron's still healthy, if we're still feeling good, then yeah, they're probably going to be favored in that game, being that it's a home game. But I don't know, man. I just think that Behren, there are intangibles that quarterbacks have, right? Behren has a lot of swag, big arm, mobile enough to go ahead and make big plays and create plays and throw his guys open and do all that great stuff that you want your quarterback to do. But there is also the intangible of not letting the moment get too big for you when you're playing a big game. And again, the Arizona State game that's a big game in the Big-12. It is that's a bigger game than the Kansas game. Depending on what you do in that game, that may be the biggest game of your season. If you lose that game, then the BYU game doesn't mean a whole lot. So I look at it and I say, dude, at some point this guy's got to show up and show out in big games. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's quite interesting because I think when we get into this whole, when you're Texas Tech, for instance, and you only have two quality opponents left on the schedule, bro, I think you're going to be hard pressed if you lose a game. I think you're in real trouble. That's the only concern I have for Texas Tech, because they should run through this schedule like a hot knife through butter, man. If they are everything that Tech fan wants you to believe they are, and I'm not even saying you guys are wrong, I just don't know how they lose a game. I don't know how they lose a game. And I will continue to beat the drum that I've beat. I think this is the fourth week I've said it now. Behren Morton is a problem because Behren Morton is a guy who we are now watching on a regular basis become the all or nothing big play guy. That's it. That's what it is. Lopes fan Gabe, who's been a member of the show for 33 months. Like button, you friggin' casuals. Yes, please hit the like button. If you are new to the show, and I know we constantly have new viewers on the show this time of year, I really appreciate everybody who's here watching. Thank you for being here. We couldn't do this without you. Please give us a thumbs up. Hit the like button. It really helps. We've had 1,100 views and only 35 likes because I'm not good at this job of telling you to hit the like button. Aaron Wilson, America's favorite mailman. Speaking of Texas Tech, for $2, what sort of unspeakable things? Well, when they're unspeakable, Aaron,
James,
I am not going to take the bait from you, Aaron.
Yeah, we've done a good job steering clear of all the, innuendos so far. So let's keep the ball rolling.
Please do. No. We're not going to play this DM me on TikTok about the Cubs and derail the show thing.
That's bullshit.
Steve. The Cubs don't start for what, 4 hours? 3 hours? Can I just have the next 3 hours before my season comes to an end? Thank you. Big Pontiff for $2. Is Morton the James Franklin of QBs?
No, he hasn't been to the CFP enough.
He hasn't failed in the CFP enough to be James Franklin.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's not something where you can put your finger on it with Baron Morton. Bad mechanics, bad mentality. It's just not there. And watching a lot of him, and I've taken a lot of time. Before I ever said this, I took a lot of time to try and understand, because there's nothing that stands out. He just does not perform in big moments. And when you go to Houston and you go look at the Houston tape, or you go look at the Utah tape, he was terrible.
When there's nothing on the line, he's good. When there's something on the line, he's bad.
He does not perform on the road against ranked opponents. And I know it's crazy. If you're going to win in the CFP, you're going to be on the road, and it's probably going to be a ranked opponent. Unless Jabba the Manual is, greasing the skids, which he wouldn't for Texas Tech, and now he's out of the loop. But it is, in my opinion, I think it's a lot. And I look at like the percentage of throws, even against Houston, 36% of his throws over 10 yards were dangerous throws. Let that sink. 36% of balls he threw over 10 yards, which is a lot, were dangerous throws. That means they could have been picked off. Against Houston, and I think some of this is and somebody brought up an interesting point. Is he David Klingler? Because it's a similar, like the run and shoot, like throw the ball all over the place and put up 500 yards and gain headlines and AP voters. And I agree, AP voters watch SportsCenter and they want to see balls go deep. And
they want to see home runs, bro.
They want to see home runs. Chicks dig the long ball. Totally agree. 100%. And again, I think Texas Tech is, and this is the problem. Texas Tech is legitimately good. That is a good football team.
Yeah, the issue is again, and if you want to say it's BYU, that's fine. Whoever we want to say is the number 2 team in the conference. The bigger issue is that there's only really 1-2 teams in the conference that are competing for a CFP spot. That's correct. The issue. And I hate it. Like, legitimately, I hate it. I hate that like the Iowa State Cincinnati game is totally unacceptable out of Iowa State, just from the sense of like, who you are, what you're supposed to do this year, the expectations. Like, I don't care how many injuries you have, dude. Like, it's not good enough. And you didn't lose that game by a field goal. You got dominated in that game. and it's bothersome. And so it's like, all right, well, I guess we'll just see Iowa State down the road. We can stop talking about them for a couple of weeks until they bounce back. And then, it's like, all right, well, am I really supposed to believe in BYU? Okay, you've got a great defense. Jack Kelly will be back at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. And the question is, do I believe that BYU can win out or be a one-loss team as the only other 5-0 team in this conference?
Oh,
no,
man.
I don't.
Yeah,
no, I
that's
don't.
tough. That's
no, I
tough.
don't. I think
that's tough.
I think there's a better chance that Tech is a one-loss team at the end of the year and wins the conference, and that BYU once again, because again, we can put up the AP top 25. Look at where BYU is right now.
Yeah.
You tell me they lose one game, like that's the problem.
But I think, and this is why I bring it back. And I guess the question I would ask you is, who do you think is the best quarterback in the conference?
I mean, that's really tough, bro. That's really tough. I mean, obviously, Barron's looked really good, for the most part. He didn't perform, in the Utah game. You look across the conference. I mean, yeah, I guess Bear Bachmeier's looked good. I mean, I would have told you that I really liked what I had seen from Josh Hoover coming into the conference, or coming into conference play. But I again, I mean, even them, like I know that they're 4-1, but it's not like they've instilled a ton of confidence, right? And then of course, I get to retread the Devin Dampier take, dude. Like it's really frustrating that Dampier looks amazing against average ass competition. And then against Tech, it was like, all right, we're playing a good defense. I'm just going to run around, do the best I can, throw the ball up, throw it to the other team, and, not do what we should do. So, unfortunately, even with Baron Morton's shortcomings, yeah, he's probably the best quarterback in the conference at this time. Bear Bachmeier's probably number 2.
No.
And well, you can't sit here and say that you think they're the number 2 team in the conference and then say what? Sam Levitt's the second best quarterback?
I think
Josh Hoover?
I think, man, if I had to pick one quarterback to win me a game, this is probably not going to be popular. I think
you better not say dude at Baylor, dude. You better not come in here with him.
Sawyer Robertson is probably the guy I'm going with.
Why?
Because he's fucking elite. The guy is really good. And I know it's not popular. But you look at his numbers. I mean, the guy is just really good. I wish he was more accurate. He's only 64%, but he's already, doesn't he have he's already got 19 touchdowns. He's got 2,058 yards, 19 scores, and 4 interceptions. He is elite. He is really, really good. I think he is, in my opinion, he is probably the best. He is probably the best quarterback in the Big 12. And I think the more I watch of Josh Hoover, this is going to be unpopular again. The more I watch of Josh Hoover, the less I like of Josh Hoover. And I know that again, I know we're huge in Dallas. I know Texas we have a huge fan base in Texas. I'm just trying to give you my opinion. Don't lose your mind. I think that Sawyer Robertson is significantly better than Josh Hoover.